The first thing I did after being reborn was to rush to take a plane and run away at night. It was because in my previous life, I had been infatuated with my childhood friend for 12 years. But on her birthday, I was forced to get engaged to her, causing her to be unable to be with the person she loved. From then on, she carried all her resentment, turning into endless hatred, tormenting me for 6 years. It was not until a truck rushed over that she was able to escape my bondage. This time, when I woke up, I was reborn on her 21st birthday. I decided to run away. This time, it was to free both her and myself. Lu Zishuan, you should go to the Lu family's house. Lu Ruyan was having a big argument with her parents at the birthday party. Now she was destroying things. The other end of the line was a bit noisy. My mother quickly finished saying this and hung up. I was reborn on Lu Ruyan's 21st birthday. She and I have been entangled for 12 years. And from today, she will start to hate me, but luckily it hasn't started yet. I opened my phone, scrolled through the school chat group, and found the person that Lu Nuyen secretly loved. Lu Nuyen is arguing with her parents at home. Go see her. After sending the message, I breathed a sigh of relief. Memories from my previous life also flooded my mind. My mother and Lu Nuyen's mother were best friends. I was 1 year older than her, so we could say we were childhood friends, growing up together. In my previous life, I also received a call from my mother and rushed over. Just in time, I caught Lu Nuyen running out of the house. She seemed to have had some alcohol, her eyes were red, and she loudly told me to take her home. When we got home, she asked me to stay with her for a while. I sat with her and drank a few more glasses, but that day the alcohol was very strong. We hadn't had much to drink before we both passed out drunk. But the next day, the story of me taking Lu Ruyan away from the birthday party and staying the night was posted on the school's confession wall. There was even a video of me helping her into the elevator and into the room, and then no one came out. Lu Ruyan was the school's beauty, and rumors spread everywhere. Even though the post was deleted, the gossip couldn't be stopped. Let's get engaged, Lu Ruyan said to me. I still clearly remember that day. She was wearing a long white dress, bowing her head and clasping her hands together. Everyone around her knew that I liked Lu Ruyan. We got engaged smoothly. I was also very happy with her attitude. We're getting married soon, and we'll be together for many more days. I'll love you, protect you, and never let you be sad or cry again. Those days, I felt like I was the luckiest person in the world. Until the engagement party, a man who seemed familiar walked in from the door of the banquet hall, and Lu Ruyan's eyes were always following him. After the party ended, I found Lu Ruyan hiding in the dressing room, wiping away tears. Lu Ruyan, do you have someone you like? You've already achieved your wish. Can't I have someone I like? Her eyes looked at me coldly, her voice full of reproach. I had separated her from the person she loved, but in the past 3 years, I had never heard that she liked anyone, let alone had a lover. Even though I loved Lu Ruyan very much, I had never forced her to marry me. Besides, nothing really happened between us that night. Lu Ruyan, if you don't want to, I will persuade your parents to cancel the engagement. Stop pretending. Your family will decide the wedding date themselves. Lu Ruyan glared at me and stood up to leave. From then on, she began a series of days of hating me, lasting for 6 years. The phone on the table rang again, interrupting my memories. It was still my mother calling. Didn't I tell you to come? Why is that kid the one who followed Lu Ruyan? Her mother was so angry that she could not stand still. Lu Ruyan's mother definitely liked him at this moment. She wanted to see him. Didn't you always teach me that feelings can't be forced? I'll go over there and take my auntie for a checkup to be at ease. Hanging up the phone, I immediately went to the Lu family's house. This time, I didn't come to take Lu like Yen away, so the things from my previous life wouldn't happen again. Moreover, even if it did happen, that man was the one she liked, it would definitely be a happy ending for both of them. While I was in a daze, I went to the Liu family's house. There were still some guests who came to congratulate me, and they hadn't left yet. They were standing there comforting Liu like Yen's parents. I could only suppress my emotions, and together with my mother, I sent the guests away, then took my auntie to the nearby hospital. It was very difficult to arrange everything properly. When I returned home, it was already midnight. Rubbing my temples, I walked into the bedroom. Immediately, my eyes fell on the bookshelf, where the photo album was. Even though many years have passed, I can still remember every single memory in that album with just a glance. All the photos were related to Liu Ruiyan. I flipped to the first page. It was our first photo together. I was 10 years old at the time, the first time I met her. The two of us were standing under a peach blossom tree. She smiled at me and I helped her remove the petals from her hair. Below the photo was the date and time, along with the immature words written in pencil, "I like you." Liu Ruiyan's reaction when she saw this album, I still remember it clearly. It was the second year after we got married. She was no longer as cold to me as she was in the beginning. Occasionally, we would sit on the sofa and watch an old movie. Until she flipped to this album. "Liu Zichuan, you really planned all of this long ago. You're so disgusting." She slammed the door and left. Our relationship once again fell to the freezing point. What did I do wrong? That photo was the purest feeling I had for her when I was 10 years old. What was there that made her feel disgusted? Later I found out the reason. Liu Ruiyan hated me because of the instigation of the person she loved. Finally, I understood the reason, but there was no more chance to explain. Or perhaps she didn't want to hear any more words from me. I planned to propose a divorce. But at that time, the Liu family was in a financial crisis. If I divorced at this time, it would be like dealing another fatal blow. I couldn't be such a person, and I couldn't let Liu Ruiyan face the crisis alone. After helping the Liu family overcome difficulties, I didn't mention divorce anymore. But, except for meetings with the elders, she never came home. We became strangers living under the same roof. The love I had once longed for had completely turned into a commercial marriage. I had thought that it would be fine, at least for the sake of growing old together. Until that man once again appeared beside Liu Ruiyan. At this time, she had become an important member of the Liu group. Our relationship did not affect our cooperation, but it was clear that the man was right. Liu Ruiyan still liked him. In the photo my friend sent, he was helping her fix her slightly messy hair. She raised her head and smiled at him. That smile was just like the first time I met her. "Let's get a divorce. I've been tired for the past 6 years. If Liu Ruiyan already has someone she likes, then let her be satisfied. At least one person will be happy." "What are you up to again?" The voice on the other end of the line was as cold as ever. "The two companies have recently had a new cooperation project. Perhaps you are worried that I will take advantage of the divorce to break the contract. It will not affect the cooperation." I thought for a moment and added, "Let's meet and talk about the details." I did not call a driver, I drove to her company myself. But in the end I could not get there. When the truck rushed over, I saw a group of children on the sidewalk. I did not turn the steering wheel, both the person and the car were crushed. "Mr. Luke, thank you for helping me take care of my parents." That was a message from Liu Ruiyan. I frowned. At this time, shouldn't she be with the person she loves? That's right, if the previous life's events were arranged by that man, then he definitely would not have pushed himself into a trap. But now, I was no longer interested in interfering in their affairs. I exited the chat window with Liu Ruiyan, conveniently unpinning her name. At this time, another message popped up. "Brother Liu, I want to start a business. Do you want to join me?" The message was from Li Ran, a close friend of mine. I was stunned for a moment. then remembered that Li Ran had asked me this question in her previous life. But at that time, I was not in a good mood. After that, I was busy deleting the video, dealing with the rumors, and then continuing to prepare for my engagement with Lu Ruyan. This matter was eventually put aside. Thinking of this, I immediately replied, "Okay, let's start tomorrow." The person on the other end of the line seemed unable to react. Starting a business requires market research first. You can't just stay here. What's the point of starting a business then? That's right, following Brother Luke will definitely make money. After discussing our ideas for a while, I started packing my luggage. When I stood up, the album on my knees fell to the ground. After thinking for a while, I threw it into the trash can next to the table. The next day, after telling my parents, I went to Sucheng with Li Ran and left this place. It was both to start a business and to temporarily leave Lu Ruyan. In this life, everything related to me and her stopped here. I wouldn't be entangled with her anymore, and I didn't want to waste any more time and thoughts on this matter. Not long after arriving in Sucheng, Li Ran and I found a business opportunity. With the experience from my previous life, I knew what to do now to make money. "Brother, we have everything now, we just lack capital." Li Ran scratched his head. "Do we have to go back and ask our parents for money?" At this moment, the phone rang. Li Ran took out his phone. "Hey, Lu Ruyan called me, she must be looking for you." He winked meaningfully and stood up to answer the phone. "If she asks, just say you don't know where I am." I added another sentence. Li Ran was stunned, but didn't ask anything more, followed my request and answered casually, "Don't you like her?" Li Ran looked at me suspiciously. "She already has someone she likes. Do you think I look like someone who would ruin someone else's love?" I stood up and patted Li Ran's shoulder. "Go wash your face first." Hearing me say that, Li Ran didn't say anything more, but from the corner of my eye, I saw that he was about to burn the phone screen. He was probably spreading this shocking news to his close friends. I just smiled helplessly. That's good too. A good night's sleep. But at 7 o'clock the next morning, I was woken up by Li Ran. "I have someone who wants to invest in us." The investor was Li Ran's classmate. We arranged to meet at a tea shop. We asked them to go out. My dad told me to go out and start a business. I'm afraid I'll ruin all the family's assets. I feel like you guys are more trustworthy than me. Lin Yu wore jeans and a short-sleeved white shirt, looking like he had just woken up and rushed over. Lin Yu's father really doted on his daughter. Not only did he treat her well, he also treated her like an heir to nurture. But looking at her current appearance, it seemed like Lin Yu just wanted to live a leisurely life. "Don't worry, following Brother Lu will give you meat to eat." Li Ran smiled and poured tea. With Lin Yu's participation, we could consider the investment capital problem solved. "Brother Lu, you're a bit short-sighted in choosing this outfit." Lin Yu consulted Li Ran for a long time, and after choosing an outfit, he turned to look at me. "We have to attend an industry party today." I looked in the mirror and looked at my outfit. A neat suit, even with a tie. I didn't see any problem. As a team, do you understand? Lin Yu threw something down from upstairs. I reached out to catch it. It was a tie, the same color as her dress. For an investor like Lin Yu's request, of course I had no reason to refuse, obediently tying my tie. While the two of them were coming down from upstairs, Li Ran was wearing a white suit, with a tie that was the same color as Lin Yu's dress. The two of them looked really well matched. I thought to myself, it's really not bad at all. We can go be spies now. Li Ran walked to my side, raised her eyebrows and made a gun gesture. "You're a spy, huh? Isn't it all like this on TV?" Seeing Li Ran and Lin Yu arguing, I also relaxed and couldn't help but smile. This kind of life is really good. Even though Lin Yu is an investor, she still goes with us everywhere. She's very smart, She can learn everything in one go, and she also gives many profound opinions. This surprised me a bit. It's no wonder her father let her start her own business with such a mind. She can succeed in anything. This time, attending the party, we all used our own identities to participate, unlike before when we followed our parents. All three of us were a bit nervous. But what I didn't expect was to meet Lu Ruyan here. It turns out that she and I have known each other for nearly 20 years. Just by looking at that figure from afar, I knew it was her. It's just that the person standing next to her wasn't the person she loved. Perhaps noticing my gaze, Lu Ruyan looked over at Brother Lu. Her eyes lit up, seemingly a little surprised and happy. She let go of the person beside her, lifted her skirt and walked towards me. This made me a little stunned. Before, Lu Ruyan in my eyes had always been like a proud princess. In my previous life, for so many years, I had always been the one to take the initiative to walk towards her. When she was in a good mood, she would call me Brother Lu. When she was unhappy, she would just nod slightly as if she saw me. But now, Kyo walked closer, her eyes carrying a smile like this, which had rarely been seen in so many years. As soon as Lu Ruyan arrived, she was about to put her arm around me. I reflexively leaned slightly to avoid her. Her face stiffened, as if she didn't expect me to treat her like this. Looking at me again, her eyes were red. "Hello, Lu Ruyan." Li Ran realized that the atmosphere was a bit awkward, and went forward to greet her. "He has always been my good friend, and also calls you Lu Ruyan." In my opinion, Lu Ruyan didn't pay attention to Li Ran and still looked straight at me. "Lu Ruyan, is there something wrong?" I sighed in my heart, not wanting the atmosphere to be too tense, so I opened my mouth to ask. Hearing me, Lu Ruyan took a step back, increasing the distance between us. "Brother Lu, can you come back and marry me?" As soon as this sentence came out, not only was I stunned, but even Li Ran beside me turned to stone. What was Lu Ruyan doing? In my previous life, I longed to marry her so much, but she hated me just as much. In this life, I fulfilled her and the person she loved. Now she said she wanted to marry me. "Don't you already have someone you like?" I calmly said, and suddenly realized that in this life, when I heard Lu Ruyan mention the two words, marriage, my heart did not have any ripples. It turned out that I really didn't like her anymore. "It's not him, he's just..." Lu Ruyan stuttered. "Have you guys seen my hairpin?" At this moment, a familiar voice rang out. Lin Yu had just finished talking to a few acquaintances, lifted her skirt and walked towards me and Li Ran. Lu Ruyan's expression stiffened slightly, her eyes moved from me to Lin Yu, then from Lin Yu to the tie around my neck. "This is Lin Yu." I naturally saw Lu Ruyan in front of me smiling brightly. "She's my mother's friend's daughter, Lu Ruyan." I turned my head to answer Lin Yu, then added, "Remember to bring your hairpin next time you go out." Lin Yu glanced at me and held out his hand in front of Lu Ruyan. "Hello, Miss Lu Ruyan. I'm Lin Wu, the boss of the two of them. Help me, do you understand what a partner is?" Li Ran mocked from the side, causing Lin Wu to run over and hit him. Only then did Lu Ruyan turn her head and see Li Ran's side, as if she had thought of something, and let out a sigh of relief. "Brother Lu, what's going on?" Looking at Lu Ruyan's back as she left, Li Ran turned to ask me. Li Ran and Lin Wu just walked towards me. "How would I know? But you're not wearing a hairpin today?" I replied. "I thought you were entangled in some emotional debt, so I came to help you out. Who would have thought you wouldn't cooperate with me?" Lin Wu winked mischievously. "What emotional debt?" Li Ran interrupted. "Brother Lu has liked Lu Ruyan for many years." I calculated, probably about seeing. Li Ran pretended to count on her fingers. Lin Wu chuckled. "Stop it, stop making fun of me." I patted Li Ran's shoulder, then said with a serious face, "Don't forget the main thing today. Yes, the person over there is General Feng, my father's friend. Go over there and say hello. Lin Yu pointed to the other side. Li Ran and I adjusted our posture and walked forward together, but it was clear that we could escape this time, but not next time. After the party ended, as soon as I sent Lin Yu back, my mother's phone rang. Sichuan, your aunt just called, saying that Lu Rian has nowhere to go, and wants to leave her with you for the night. I know you don't want to be with her, but I've watched her grow up after all. Mom sighed. We grew up together for so many years, I've treated Lu Rian like my own daughter. Now even though I don't like Lu Rian anymore, I can't just leave you alone. Send me the address, I'll pick her up. I had blocked contact with Lu Rian for a long time, and now I didn't want to reconnect because of this. Li Ran and I picked up Lu Rian in the hotel lobby. She was still wearing the evening gown, looking a little cold, and hugged my arms to rub them. When Li Ran parked the car in front of her, she still hadn't reacted, and frowned slightly. I had no choice but to open the car door like every other time to pick her up. Brother Lu, why did you drive this car? Her voice carried a bit of reproach, and also a bit of dissatisfaction. While smiling and handing her the blanket, Li Ran suddenly stopped, and her smile gradually faded. In my previous life, I didn't go out to start a business. In addition, Lu Rian always appeared willing to sacrifice for love. I didn't have the chance to realize that she also paid attention to these things. Lu Rian seemed to notice Li Ran's expression, her lips pursed, as if she wanted to say something, but couldn't say anything. Didn't you already go to the hotel? Why did you come to my place? I glanced at the hotel next door, which seemed to be the place the Lu family had arranged in advance. When we go out, both of our families go together. You always stay there too. I was alone in the hotel now. I felt a little scared. Lu Rian reached out and pulled my shirt, shaking it slightly, her voice choked up a little. So what are you doing here? I asked. I came to find him. It seemed like my mother had told Lu Rian about my whereabouts. Lu Rian, I knew she had someone in her heart. Now that I'm gone, you and him can be together. After he left, my father started forcing me to go on a blind date. Lu Rian's words stunned me. For all these years, Lu Rian had always been pampered like a little princess in the Lu family. Why was she suddenly forced to go on a blind date? Thinking of this, I suddenly understood why Lu Rian wanted to marry me as soon as she saw me today. It turned out that she saw me as a lifeline. I used to like her, but that didn't mean I wanted to marry someone who didn't like me. The pain from my previous life was still clear in my mind. We are completely incompatible. How could I let something like this happen again? It's not like that, Brother Luke, I like you. Lu Rian explained in panic. Looking at her appearance, it didn't seem like she was lying. This made me even more confused. In her previous life, Lu Rian really liked that man. Why did she change so quickly in this life? Not only did she change, she also came to me, saying that she liked me. In her previous life, she hated me for 6 years because of that man. Could it be that she was also reborn? I saw the album he made for me in the trash can. As if guessing my thoughts, Lu Rian cleared her throat and said, "That's true." I breathed a sigh of relief. You know the reason why it's in the trash can, right? Lu Rian was wrapped in a blanket and turned around. Hearing my words, her movements suddenly stopped. Tears fell drop by drop. I gave her some paper to help her cover the blanket. If she's also reincarnated, then there are some things that should be said clearly. Lu Rian, if you know everything, then you should understand that from the beginning to the end, I never forced you. Now that you have a chance to do it again, don't hate me anymore. Don't think of me as a lifesaver. Lu Rian was still sobbing. I sat beside her. Memories of my previous life appeared in my mind. There was a time when Lu Rian coldly told me to get out of her room. There was a time when she frantically questioned me, "Why did you hit someone?" In her heart, there was her cold gaze at the engagement party, which never stopped at me. There was a time when she only called me Brother Luke when she needed my help. Little Lou Rian once said she wanted to marry me. There was Lou Rian who met me for the first time, standing under the peach tree, squinting at me and smiling. All of this is proof of the 18 years of love I have for Lou Rian, and also the 6 years of pain that is hard to look back on. Brother Lou. The street lights shine through the car window. I can't see Lou Rian's side profile clearly, but I know she is still crying. Don't cry anymore, Lou Rian. I was silent for a moment and then continued. Let's not make each other suffer this time. The car has arrived. Li Ran coughed lightly. Then I'll go first. You find her a place to stay tomorrow morning, find someone to take her home. I interrupted Li Ran, opened the car door first and got out. There are still some things to do today, I have to finish them. Tomorrow there is a meeting, and I still have to find a supplier. As for Lou Rian, if she wants, she can still secretly date the person she loves like in her previous life. It's just that this life has nothing to do with me anymore. Lou Rian no longer comes to me. On the contrary, Li Ran sometimes mentions that Lou Rian is engaged to the person in her heart. It seems like there's something going on, but I don't care anymore. The company has been developing strongly recently. Although it's busy, it's very satisfying. Li Ran and Lin Yu usually quarrel, but when working, they work well together. Looking at the pink balloons that occasionally fly between the two of them, I suddenly seem to understand something. Do you like Lin Yu? During lunch, I took advantage of the time when Lin Yu went to get food to secretly ask Li Ran. This guy seemed to be choked by my question, stuttering and unable to say anything. Okay, I know, I'll ask for you when I have the chance. Hearing me say that, Li Ran's ears turned red. Just then, Lin Yu saw it, who had just finished getting food. Oh, did President Li do something wrong or something that makes his ears so red? Normally, he would never give in when teased, but this time, Li Ran couldn't say a word, just lowered her head and ate. Not seeing him reply, Lin Yu became even more interested. Sixth brother, what's wrong with him? Thinking about spring love? Cough, cough, cough. Li Ran's face was distorted by my words. Lin Yu was startled. While serving water, he patted her back. Looking at the interaction between the two, I understood that this was a happy couple. There was no need for me to matchmake them. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. The company had gradually gotten back on track. Some of the difficulties they had encountered had been resolved. At the celebration party, Li Ran confessed to Lin Yu. Normally, she looked carefree, but Li Ran held a large bouquet of flowers, her voice trembling. Lin Yu smiled and accepted the flowers. Like always, he gently pushed his shoulder. After that, the two of them hugged each other. This was love, I thought to myself. Love should be like this, not the kind of stubborn, one-sided torture, looking at each other with dislike like in my previous life. The two of them escaped their single life and turned to me. Brother Lou, let Xiao Wu introduce you to a girlfriend. That's right, Brother Lou. I have a friend who is both smart and beautiful. Seeing that I didn't answer, Li Ran pulled a chair and sat next to me. Brother Lou, I don't know about you and Lou Ruyan, but people have to move forward. That's right, Brother Lou. You can't just live alone for the rest of your life, right? Looking at the two of them, one happy and one miserable, my heart suddenly softened. Although I hadn't thought about love before, but looking at them like this, having a lover wasn't bad. All right, I'll leave this to you too. I patted their shoulders. Everything was completely different from my previous life, but I was very happy every day. Until Lou Ruyan appeared before me once again. Brother Lou, meet me at the company door. Li Ran's face showed a bit of embarrassment. I went downstairs to buy the little cakes that Lin Wu likes to eat, but I saw Lou Ruyan blocked at the reception desk downstairs. You can't pretend not to know me. Of course I understood the signal. It's okay. Li Ran breathed a sigh of relief, closed the office door and left. Only then did I turn my gaze to Lu Ruyen. She was wearing a white dress. Her shoes had some stains on them. Long time no see, she looked thinner. When she saw me, she straightened her back slightly. Brother Lu, sorry, long time no see. The reason? She suddenly apologized to me. I could guess somewhat. Perhaps she had discovered that all the misunderstandings between us in our previous life were all orchestrated by the person in her heart. Perhaps in my previous life, before I died, I secretly hoped that she would realize that she had misunderstood me. Regret or guilt, but in this life I really don't care about what I did before. For you, I was willing to do everything. Now that everything is over, you don't need to apologize. If anything, the person you need to apologize to is me in my previous life. You died, it was my fault. Hearing me say that, Lu Ruyen trembled and covered her face with her hands. Only now did I realize that I loved the office door. At this moment, the door was pushed open. Do you want to eat grilled meat this afternoon? Before I saw her, I heard that she was my girlfriend, Song Tangjin, who was also Lin Yu's best friend. She was kind, lovely, smart, and more importantly, she liked me and I liked her too. We had known each other for half a year, and we loved each other like normal couples. We ate and chatted together. Thanks to her, I realized that a good relationship could really empower people. Okay, I know a really good restaurant. I looked at her and couldn't help but smile. This is Lu Ruyen, the daughter of my mother's best friend. Seeing Song Tangjin's gaze turn to Lu Ruyen, I also stood up and walked to her side, introducing, "This is my girlfriend." Song Tangjin greeted, "Sister, do you want to eat with us later? You must be tired from coming all this way, right?" Lu Nuyen was stunned, looking up at me. She seemed to be a little confused as to why Tong Tang Cam knew where she came from. I understood, just smiled, and turned to look at the girl next to me. Her eyes were filled with the same happiness as mine. "Can I talk to Brother Luke in private for a moment?" I didn't expect Lu Ruyen to say that, but I didn't think there was anything I needed to hide from my girlfriend. "It's okay, I'll wait outside." Song Zongjin smiled and interrupted me before walking straight out. When she closed the door, Lu Ruyen raised her head to look at me. "I love you, Brother Luke. In my previous life, after you passed away, I realized that I loved you. In this life, I thought that if you didn't like me anymore, I would stay with him. But," the girl in front of me sobbed. In her previous life, when facing me, she always kept a cold face. In this life, it seemed like her tears never stopped falling. I sighed. "You still don't understand? I don't love you. I'm just used to you always being by my side taking care of me, used to you loving me. It's not me, I misunderstood you. You know, Lu Ruyen, you already have someone you like. I have also felt how a good relationship can make people happy. You should be like me. I hope you will be happy too." Lu Ruyen did not say anything more, just sobbed softly. I handed her a few pieces of paper. "Do you need me to call someone to take you home?" Lu Ruyen still did not say anything. "You just rest here for a while, someone will take you home later." "Goodbye, Lu Ruyen." I opened the office door. Song Zongjin was sitting in Lin Yu's office across from me, walking to the office door. Lin Yu, Li Ran was sharing a small piece of cake with her. The sunset drew a streak of light on the floor. Along that streak of light, I could hold her hand. Song Zongjin gave me a delicate, beautiful feeling. She was a smart girl. The sunset shone on her face. I reached out to hold her hand. She suddenly looked at me. "How did you talk to her?" There's nothing to talk about. The past is over," I replied softly. But many images suddenly appeared in my mind. The past was still clear, but then, like smoke and clouds, they suddenly disappeared. Dusk gradually fell, and a gust of wind blew by. Back at the company, the security guard on duty told me that a handsome guy had come to pick up Miss Lu Ruyen. I nodded to show that I understood. That handsome guy, without needing to be told, was Du Tong. He was the thorn between me and Lu Ruyen. In my previous life, it was the appearance of this thorn that caused me and her, our childhood sweethearts, to break up. It was also this thorn that made the girl who had followed me since childhood, calling me Luxi, hate me for 6 years. I didn't know if Lu Ruyen shed a single tear for me on the day I died on the hospital bed. I was absent-minded and returned to my desk. Suddenly I received an overtime assignment. The company had been developing very rapidly recently. There was a project that needed to be planned, and the other party was basically satisfied with the first draft of the plan. If this order was successful, our company would take a big step forward. While I was busy, my phone suddenly rang. Looking at the caller ID, it was Lu Ruyen. Judging by the time, Lu Ruyen should have arrived by now. I picked up the phone, and Lu Ruyen's voice rang out on the other end. "Brother Louis." Her voice choked up. I could feel her bad mood at the moment, but I couldn't comfort her. "Are you here?" I interrupted her. "I'm here. Brother Lu, Du Song and I are engaged. He picked me up this time to take me to his house," she said slowly. "Well, I wish you happiness," I finished. The other end of the line was silent. Both of us fell into a silence that lasted for about a minute. Then, the other end of the line came with a sob. She cried very sadly. But she and I were two parallel lines. Perhaps we would never intersect again. I hung up the phone, immediately blocking Lu Ruyen's number, to avoid unnecessary contact between me and her. It was also to respect my girlfriend, Song Tangjin. In my previous life, having experienced an unhealthy relationship and marriage, I deeply understood the pain that such a relationship brought. Therefore, I did not want to bring Song Tangjin any unfair treatment. It was almost 3 a.m., and I finally completed my plan. I stretched and went home. Now, I have settled down in Suching, and have a certain career. My heart has also found peace here. I bought a big house of my own. In the house, I raised 2 cats, one named Ahu, the other named Xiaohua. They are also childhood sweethearts, growing up in the house I bought. Ahu is the older brother, Xiaohua is the younger sister. They sometimes quarrel, but mostly happily. Most of Lu Ruyen and I spent our childhoods full of joy. It's just that, after being together, she hated me for 6 years. Now, the relationship between me and Song Zongjin is getting more and more harmonious. I warmed up a glass of milk myself, finished drinking it, and prepared to go to bed. The 2 cats ran to me, rubbing against my arm. After drinking the milk, I simply washed my face and fell asleep. Unexpectedly, the next morning, I was awakened by the ringing of my phone. Looking at the screen, I saw that it was a call from Li Ran. His voice on the phone was a little urgent. "Brother Lu, something is wrong, something unexpected happened." Ran made me instantly awake. What happened? Our company's order was stolen by someone else. His voice became more and more urgent. After listening, I also frowned. Robbed? I was also a little surprised. To get this order, we had worked very hard. Just the plan alone had been revised back and forth countless times. Last night, I even received a call from the person in charge on the other side, saying that there were a few places that needed to be revised. I immediately did it. After sending Song Zongjin back, I immediately threw myself into the work of revising the plan. I originally thought that after waking up, I could successfully sign a contract with the other party. This order was not small, divided into 3 stages, with a total value of 50 million. If we can sign it, our company can complete 1/3 of this year's revenue target. But I didn't expect it to be snatched away by someone else. Speak slowly, don't be in a hurry. I reminded Li Ran, because it was useless to be hasty at this time. Under my reassurance, Li Ran's mood finally calmed down. 6th brother, What's the situation now? I don't know either. I only know that a company called Ishin snatched our order. Yes, I know. Go find out what this company's background is. I'll go to the company right away. We'll meet and discuss it. A storm rose in my heart, but my voice remained calm. In order to win this order, we had been busy for a month or two, pouring in a lot of effort. Now that it was snatched away by someone else, no one could be happy. Li Ran replied and hung up. I quickly got up, washed my face quickly, and hurried to the company. On the way, I muttered, "Is this not the company related to Lu Nu Yen?" When I arrived at the company, I quickly walked in. Lai Nim and Lam Vu were already there. The other core members of the company were also present. "Brother Luke, are you here?" Lai Nim greeted me. "President Luke." The others also greeted me in unison. Lam Vu nodded to me, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. It was obvious that the situation was a bit serious this time. The other employees in the company also looked this way. I don't want this to affect everyone's work. Let's go to the conference room. We entered the conference room. All eyes were on me, but everyone's mood seemed a bit heavy. Li Ran, who had a straightforward personality, immediately stood up and said, "Brother Lu, the company behind Yi Shen is Du Song. Du Song is the one who got engaged to Lu Ruyan." Speaking up to here, he seemed to want to continue, but stopped. I knew what he wanted to say. He just wanted to imply that the company named Yi Shen was definitely related to Lu Ruyan, but out of respect for me, he didn't dare say more. Looking at Li Ran's frustrated expression, I said, "You just continue." Seeing me say that, he hesitated a bit and then said, "Brother Luke, do you think this matter is related to Lu Ruyan? She has been coming to our company frequently recently, probably not. We don't have much contact with her. Only people in our company know about this order. I have never told anyone outside, let alone mentioned it to Lu Ruyan." I presented the basic situation. After everyone heard it, their expressions changed a bit. "Brother Luke, but this Du Song is really disgusting." Having said this, Li Ran glanced at me and stopped talking. "Brother Luke, I'm sorry. I just feel that his despicable actions are really hateful." I nodded slightly, understanding Li Ran's meaning. Not only him, my impression of Du Song was also not good. Although Li Ran's words were unpleasant to hear, they were basically correct. In the previous life, he used despicable tricks to snatch Lu Ruyan's heart from me. In this life, he came to steal my business. I even thought that my unexpected car accident in the previous life was probably arranged by him. Lin Yu suddenly glared at Li Ran. "If you don't know how to talk, then talk less." Right now, what needed to be done was to think of a way to deal with it. In the past year, after going through many storms in the workplace, Lin Yu had now become a strong, professional woman. In response to Lin Yu's reproach, Li Ran did not dare to say anything more. Everyone bowed their heads, no one said anything. Right now, the problem is no longer on our side. We have always negotiated very well with the partner company. After a long while, seeing that no one said anything, I said, "General Manager Li, General Manager Lin, stay. The others can go back to their work." Hearing me say that, the others stood up and left the room. My eyes fell on Lin Yu and Li Ran. For this company, the three of us have made a lot of achievements. Today's company cannot be separated from the efforts of all three. Now that the two of them have become a couple, everything seems to be going in a good direction. I didn't expect such an unexpected problem to happen. I looked at Lin Yu. "Xiao Yu, you and Li Ran should thoroughly investigate the situation of this order. Check if there is an insider in the company. Also, investigate clearly about the Ishin company. I will meet with the general manager of the partner company, Wang Zong." "Okay, Brother Lu," Lin Yu said. Li Ran also said to me, "Don't worry, Brother Lu. Leave the matter here to us." Seeing that the two of them were ready, I didn't say anything more and immediately left. I took out my phone and called Wang Zong, but the phone rang over and over again, and no one answered. The phone can be connected, but it is not picked up. The reason could be that the other party intentionally did not answer the phone or was studying and did not bring the phone. In this situation, I think the first possibility is greater. The other party intentionally did not answer the phone. It seems that the chance of saving the situation is very small. But no matter what, I still have to try once. Thinking so, I immediately went to Mr. Wang's company. When I arrived, I was stopped by the receptionist. The receptionist asked who I was looking for. "I want to see Mr. Wang," I said clearly. The receptionist continued to ask, "Have you made an appointment?" I replied, "No, but I have something important to see Mr. Wang." The receptionist smiled professionally. "I'm sorry, sir, if you don't have an appointment, you won't be able to meet Mr. Wang. Please make an appointment and come back." Hearing this, my heart couldn't help but turn cold. It was very possible that our hard work over the past 2 months was about to go down the drain. This was a joint effort of the entire company. Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, I did not want to give up. I did not enter the company but waited outside, waiting from morning until I saw Mr. Wang in a neat suit coming down from upstairs. He was about 40 years old, but his figure was still very neat, without the beer belly that many people saw in him. I did not hesitate, immediately walking over. "Mr. Wang, can we talk for a bit?" Mr. Wang's eyes fell on me. The two people accompanying him quickly stopped me. I tried to squeeze through, but they blocked my way. "Let him come over here," Mr. Wang said. Immediately backing away, but before letting me, I walked in front of Mr. Wang. "Mr. Wang, have you looked at the plan I sent you last night? Is there anything you are not satisfied with? Your plan is basically fine, but I cannot deliver this order to you." "Sorry, Mr. Liu." His voice seemed a little apologetic. "The reason I refused, what is it I can't say, but it's not because your plan is not good," Mr. Wang said while looking at me. "Sorry, Mr. Liu, I still have a meeting to attend. I'll take my leave first." After speaking, he strode away. Looking at his back, I couldn't help but be absent-minded for a few seconds, then came back to my senses. I knew that continuing to stay here was no longer meaningful. So I left Mr. Wang's company and returned to my own company. When I got home, I called Lin Yu and Li Ran for a meeting. The content of the meeting was very simple. I briefly recounted the incident. First, it is almost impossible for us to get this order back. Second, our plan is still very good. Let's see if we can find a similar partner to cooperate with. Try not to let everyone's efforts go to waste. Hearing what I said, Li Ran immediately replied, "Okay, Brother Luke." Lin Yu also had no opinion, telling me to go out and arrange. After Lin Yu left, Li Ran said to me, "Brother Luke, I know why our order was robbed." Seeing Li Ran's serious expression, I asked in surprise, "Why?" "I just asked someone to thoroughly investigate Du Song. His family doesn't have much money, and his company was also invested by the Liu family. I guess getting this order was also thanks to the Liu family's connections." Speaking up to here, Li Ran paused for a few seconds. He looked at me, his expression as if he wanted to say something but stopped. Seeing this, I couldn't help but say, "Li Ran, since when have you become so slow? Just say it." Li Ran said, "This matter is still related to Lu Ruyan. Do you think she hated me out of love and deliberately wanted to take revenge on you?" I looked at Li Ran and said, "The relationship between Lu Ruyan and me is not that simple. We both reincarnated. I know her past. She also knows my past. In our previous life, we were married. In this life, we are not lovers, let alone husband and wife. We have only returned to the original state when we first met. Right now, I don't want to go any further with Lu Ruyan. I don't want to repeat some things from the past. But Lu Ruyan in this life actively wants to be close to me. This is something I don't understand. She should have hated me in her previous life. She should have hated me. But why did she suddenly want to approach me in this life? I felt confused, not knowing what her purpose was. Probably not. This is probably Du Song's action, I said. I remember that Lu Ruyan has never been interested in business. She only likes to do what she likes. Hearing me mention Du Song, Li Ran immediately became angrier. Is this Du Song really the one who did it? I will go deal with him right now. Having said that, Li Ran was about to step out. Seeing this, I stopped him. It's useless to go looking for him now. The most important thing right now is to continue looking for a partner. Li Ran nodded, also knowing that I was right, but still left a harsh sentence. Our company and Du Song have already formed a grudge. That's right, we have, I replied. Actually, we had already formed a grudge in our previous life. Du Song is a very hateful, despicable and shameless person. I sat in the office, started to look for some documents, looked up potential partners to see if there were any new cooperation opportunities. I don't know when, the phone on the table rang. Looking at the display screen, I found that it was an unknown number. With these kinds of harassing calls, I usually don't answer, but unexpectedly the other party patiently called 3 or 4 times in a row. Seeing this, I pressed the answer button. After listening, I didn't say anything but waited. About 3 to 5 seconds later, a low voice rang out on the other end of the line. Lu Zishuan, right? Yes, it's me, I replied. I'm Du Song, nice to talk to you for the first time. When he said this, his tone clearly carried a hint of provocation. I was a little stunned, then asked, do you have something to do? Oh, nothing special. I just wanted to tell you that Lu Ruyan and I are engaged. She is now my fiancée. I hope you can keep your distance from my fiancé. I frowned slightly, feeling unhappy. What made me unhappy was not because he told me to keep my distance from Lu Ruyan, but because he used a commanding, threatening tone to tell me about the two of them. No need to tell me I don't care about her. You don't need to remind me, I replied coldly. That's good. If you don't listen to me, I'll let you know what the consequences are. This time, consider it a punishment for you. If there's a next time, things won't be that simple. His voice became low. You used despicable means to snatch this order. You probably don't feel very proud, right? No matter what, as long as you win, I've said what needs to be said. You take care of it yourself. After saying that, he hung up. I stood there, absent-minded for a few seconds. My suspicions grew. The car accident in my previous life was most likely caused by him. Of course, I didn't have any evidence right now. It was all just speculation. After thinking for a while, I called someone to investigate Du Song further. Although I had asked Li Ran to investigate before, what he had found out was only superficial, not deep enough. So, I decided to have more people dig deeper to see if this person had any problems. I handed this task over to the other party, and after hearing it, they immediately said, no problem, as long as we have enough money, we can do anything. I replied and told them to quickly give me the results. They said that there would be news within a week. After hanging up, my heart was heavy. If Du Song was someone who would do anything, then Lu Ruyan would be very dangerous with him. Maybe I should remind Lu Ruyan, but I felt it was unnecessary. In the afternoon, Song Zongjin called to ask me out to eat. She said she was waiting downstairs at the company. I replied, okay, I'll be right down. Seeing Song Zongjin, her long hair was flying in the wind. She was wearing a floral dress. Her face was radiant, smiling. Her skin was fair and smooth, and her appearance was like the Jiangnan girls described in the books, gentle and lovely. I'm here, Zichuan, she waved at me. I ran towards her, and she smiled and asked, "What do you want to eat today?" "I'll treat you," I said. "I'll eat anything if you treat me." We entered the restaurant. Song Zongjin's face was always smiling. Seeing her happy, so I couldn't help but ask Xiaojin, "Is there anything happy today?" "Well, I'm happy to see you." Her answer surprised me, but also warmed my heart. After ordering, she handed me the menu and asked me what I wanted to eat. I looked at the menu and found that she had ordered all the dishes I liked. I took the menu and ordered a few more dishes. "What do you like to eat?" "I'm also very happy to see you," I said. "Well, that's good." "Huh," she laughed loudly. "I heard from Xiao Wu, you're in some trouble. Do you need my help?" "I'm ready to help at any time." She waved her small pink fist. "It's not time for you to help yet." I laughed in response. Suddenly, the phone on the table vibrated. I looked at the screen. It was an unknown number. At first, I thought it was Du Song calling, so I was about to hang up. But Song Zongjin suddenly said, "Listen." My eyes turned to her, saw her resting her chin on her hand, her face full of curiosity staring at me. Hesitating for a moment, I still pressed the answer button, even turning on the speakerphone. Unexpectedly, when I just connected, Lu Ruyan's voice rang out on the other end. "Brother Lu, it's me. You blocked my number, so I had to call another number." I frowned. "Is there something wrong?" At this moment, Song Zongjin made a gesture towards me. She used 2 fingers to place on the table, pretending that her 2 legs were walking. I understood what she meant, roughly wanting to tell me that she would go first to leave space for us to talk. But I quickly shook my head. "No need to go." After Xiaojin finished speaking, Lu Ruyan's voice rang out again. "Is she also by your side?" "Yes, that's right, Xiaojin and I are eating," I said calmly. Of course, I didn't hide the relationship between Song Zongjin and me. I didn't want to face an unhealthy relationship. Song Zongjin heard me say that, and quickly stood up, friendly greeting Lu Ruyan. "Hello, Lu Ruyan." On the other end of the line, Lu Ruyan was silent for about a minute or two before saying, "Brother Luke, I didn't call you for any other reason. I just wanted to tell you that what happened at your company has nothing to do with me. It was all Du Tong's doing." "Yes, I know," I replied coldly. "If there's nothing else, I'll continue eating with Xiaojin." "Brother Lu, please call my name." I took a deep breath. The other side was silent again, this time longer. Then she said, "I have nothing else to say, I'm hanging up." The phone was disconnected. Song Zongjin looked at me. "Sichuan, you were so cold just now." I looked at her, "Cold to others, but you're very warm to me." Song Zongjin suddenly told me to be frivolous, making her blush. After finishing dinner, Song Zongjin said to me, "If you're short on money, just tell me, I still have 1 million yuan in my account. If 1 million isn't enough, I'll go ask my dad." I knew her family's conditions were very good. Lin Yu's family is not bad after all, and her best friend is of course the same. Although I don't need her money right now, hearing her say that, I feel extremely warm inside. "I don't need money for now, but can you come visit my parents in the next few days?" "You want to see my parents?" Song Zongjin's face turned red, surprised. "I haven't prepared anything." "You don't want me to see your parents?" "No, that's not it." She called her parents right away. As soon as the phone connected, she said, "Mom, I have something very important to tell you." Song Zongjin's mother's voice rang out from the other end of the line. "What's the matter, Xiaojin?" "My future son-in-law wants to come to our house to see our parents," Song Zongjin said, and playfully glanced at me. Her actions made me start to feel nervous too. "Really? When are you coming?" Song Zongjin's mother sounded very happy. Seeing the situation, I knew I had to take the initiative to greet her. "Hello, I'm Sichuan. Sichuan, are you there? Song Zongjin's mother seemed surprised. Xiao Jin and I are eating out. I just told her that I wanted to have a chance to visit you. I wonder when you'll have time. Any time is fine, even tomorrow. Song Zongjin's mother replied. Sichuan, I've heard Xiao Wu and Xiao Jin praising you all the time, and I'm very curious about what your son-in-law is like. Seeing that Song Zongjin's mother was very friendly, I gradually calmed down. Then let me arrange to come over to your house in the next few days. I'll prepare with Xiao Jin's father before coming, so please let me know in advance. Yes. Song Zongjin's mother quickly reminded her, Xiao Jin, you must not bully people when you are with Sichuan, understand? I know, Mom. How can I bully your future son-in-law? Song Zongjin stuck out her tongue, looking very cute. The mother and daughter said a few more sentences and hung up. Song Zongjin looked at me. Look, my mother hasn't even met you yet, but she's already so enthusiastic towards you, isn't that great? I laughed and said, after dinner, Song Zongjin and I went for a walk. Perhaps she felt that I was in a bad mood, so she took me to a nearby game room. Even though it was just games from my childhood, it still helped me feel better. Around 9:30 p.m., I took her home. About 3 days later, I found a new partner. They expressed their willingness to cooperate with us. This company had stronger potential than Mr. Wang's company, and its capabilities were more than just one level stronger. In addition, the company also said that if our plan satisfied them, they were willing to pay an additional 30%. This meant that the initial order of 50 million yuan could increase to more than 60 million yuan. I announced this news to everyone in the company. Everyone was extremely excited. I personally got to work. After a busy week, editing the old platform many times, the plan was finally completed. Finally, we signed a contract with this company and successfully won the order. Everyone was overjoyed. I also took this opportunity to give the staff 2 days off and give them a bonus. Li Ran said to me, Brother Lu, this is what is called a blessing in disguise. I responded. After 2 days of rest, we really entered. In a busy state, on the second day I received a call from the investigator I hired. The person said that the documents had been sent to me. I replied, paid the final amount, and took the documents. When I opened them, they were about Du Song. I read them carefully and discovered that Du Song was a man who relied on women to advance himself. He had once spent all of another woman's money to the point that she committed suicide by jumping into a river. His real name was not Du Song, but Li Jihao. When I read this, my expression changed slightly. It was really a bit unexpected. This guy had already fooled at least more than 10 women. Now that he approached Lu Ruyan, he must have this plan. I originally intended to remind Lu Ruyan right away, but then again she was like me, both reincarnated. She should be on guard too. After all, she had come back to life again. I guessed that she had probably encountered something that might be related to Du Song. About a month later, we completed the first phase of the order. The partner was very satisfied with our performance and quality. They said that after this project was finished, they would hand over all future orders to us. This made us very happy. About a week later, I received a call from Mr. Wang, who had rejected us before. Seeing Mr. Wang's number, I hesitated for a few seconds before pressing the answer button. Mr. Wang, why do you have time to call me today? Mr. Lu, this is really painful to talk about. The last order was given to another partner, and they couldn't complete it. Now I'm in a dilemma. It's really difficult. Mr. Wang looked miserable. I said to him, Mr. Wang, you're so powerful, how could you not handle it? How about this, Mr. Lu, I'll hand that order over to you. Please help me make a plan. I promise not to gossip, and I'll even pay an additional 10% fee. He said very seriously. I thought for a moment and agreed. After all, it would be stupid not to take the money that was delivered to my door. I called Lin Yu and Li Ran for an emergency meeting. After hearing it, Li Ran angrily said, "He wants to come back now? We shouldn't cooperate with him." Lin Yu glanced at him. "If you have money but don't earn it, why not cooperate?" I agreed with Lin Yu. "Yes, everyone, try a little harder and complete Mr. Wang's order." Everyone responded in unison and left the conference room. That very day, Du Song called me again. As soon as he opened his mouth, he cursed. "That Lu guy, what do you mean? Stealing my order?" "No, everyone relies on their own abilities," I calmly replied. "Okay, you just wait. I will make you pay." Du Song threatened me. I was unhappy and said, "Li Jihao." When he heard me calling this name, he was stunned for a few seconds. "Who is Li Jihao? Who are you talking to?" "I am Du Song." "Oh, General Du, take care of yourself," I said. After saying that, I immediately hung up. I didn't expect that this call almost caused me to have an accident. That day, on my way home from work, a car suddenly rushed over and tried to hit me. Luckily, I avoided it. But it was also during this near accident that I realized one thing. Du Song is a very dangerous person. After thinking for a while, I sent the documents about Du Song to Lu Ruyan. As for how she would handle it, that was her business. I believed that she was also full of hatred for Du Song. After finishing these things, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Currently, the company is developing very quickly. Everything is going smoothly. I also met Song Tangjin's parents. They are very satisfied with me, especially Song Tangjin's mother, who is very enthusiastic. Occasionally, when there is nothing to do, she calls me to her house to play. After a few times, she asked me when I will get engaged to Xiao Jin. I said, anytime very soon. I told my parents about this. My parents were very happy when they heard, although my mother felt a little regretful that I did not get married to Lu Ruyan, who she had considered her daughter-in-law since childhood. But when she met Song Zongjin, she quickly fell in love with her. My mother even urged me to get engaged to Song Zongjin quickly. Both families agreed. She and I also loved each other very much. All the conditions were favorable. It was truly a matter of time, place, and people. Everything was perfect for happiness. We chose an auspicious day, and we won. About a week later, Song Zongjin and I got engaged. That day was very lively. Lin Yu and Li Ran, the matchmakers, had to be present. After the engagement ceremony, I was so tired that I could not bear it and went home to rest. The next morning, I saw a news story about Du Song. Du Song was arrested on suspicion of fraud and intentional injury. Because he had deceived more than 10 girls, he became the focus of public opinion. Everyone despised and loathed Du Song. At the same time, I received a call from Lu Ruyan. On the phone, she said to me, "Brother Luke, thank you for helping me." "I'm not helping you, I'm just helping myself," I replied. I feel that Du Song is a very disgusting person. Although there is no way to prove that I had a traffic accident in my previous life, through some trivial clues, I can see that Du Song does things without hesitation. After all, I almost had an accident again before. Lu Ruyan was silent for a moment. "Anyway, I thank you. I also know that Du Song is not a good person." I said yes, suddenly not knowing what to say next. Both of us were silent for a moment. She said, "Brother Lu, congratulations on your engagement." "Thank you for your wishes," I said. "I'm going to study abroad soon, and I plan to learn a few things. If I develop well there, I probably won't come back in the future." Her voice seemed to be trembling. But no matter what, the matter between her and me was finally in the past. Between us, it was as if we had completely become strangers. "Well, I wish you all the best, and I hope you are happy." After saying that, I hung up the phone. About a month later, Lin Yu and Li Ran held their wedding. Song Zongjin and I attended as best man and bridesmaid. In this love, the two of them really did think of each other, loved each other. I admired them very much, and also felt lucky that I now had Song Zongjin. I held her hand, looked into her eyes, and thought to myself that I would definitely always be happy with her. Aside from Lu Rian, after Lu Zishuan called, I started to clean up my office and the break room next to it. When I was not at home, I almost always lived at the company, but I didn't want him to know that. After all, he had always been so outstanding since he was young. There were many things that happened between us. Long Zizhong always reminded me that I couldn't bow my head, I couldn't lose. Although I was a little confused as to why he suddenly proposed a divorce, I still breathed a sigh of relief. Perhaps we were really a couple of enemies. Over the years, we rarely had the chance to live peacefully. Now that we were separated, perhaps it was a good thing. It was just that when we really had to part, the anger and resentment in my heart disappeared, leaving only an indescribable sadness. I picked up our photo on the table, intending to put it in the drawer, when the police called. "Hello, is this Lu Zishuan's relative?" Just arrived at the central hospital. Time seemed to stop. At that moment, when I regained consciousness, I was already in the car, going to the hospital. Actually, I don't remember how I felt later. At that time, I only remember that I didn't shed a single tear. Until I returned from the hospital, to the house we used to live in a moment of inability to hold back, I walked into his study. The album on the bookshelf was placed on the bottom shelf, but I still saw it right away. I remembered the last time I saw this album, I had a big fight with him. But this time, when I looked back, he was no longer in this world. I took a deep breath, opened the album. The first page was a photo of the first time we met. In the photo, we were very young. That day, the sunlight was beautiful. Lu Zishuan slightly lowered his eyes, his long eyelashes leaving a faint shadow on his face. How beautiful! Lu Zishuan and I were not like this. We grew up together. He was my best friend, my brother. He was very skillful. When we went on picnics, he would weave a beautiful flower crown for me, put it on my head and call me Little Princess. He was very good at studying, especially math. On countless afternoons, he sat in the yard and lectured me, neither criticizing me for being slow to understand nor getting angry. He cooks very well. My favorite braised pork and Chinese cabbage are all delicious. He often flicks my forehead with his finger, but it doesn't hurt. He takes me to amusement parks, and when we enter haunted houses, he covers my eyes. When I have an argument with my parents, he takes me somewhere else. I know his pressure and responsibility. He understands my pride and sensitivity. We are clearly the people who understand each other the most. Later, I passed the entrance exam to his university. The day he picked a house for me, I was still looking forward to our upcoming 4 years of university. But then I met another guy, his name is Du Tong. He said he liked me. He drove me to the beach on his motorbike. The speed was very fast. My heart was also beating very fast. He asked me if I liked him too. I felt my heart pounding in my chest, a little confused. Before that, I always thought that I liked Lu Zishuan, so I told Du Song the same thing. She and he were just dependent on each other. She had already said that. She always called him brother. Family affection is not love. Maybe Du Song was right. I just confused dependence with affection. That afternoon, Du Song and I sat by the beach, the waves crashing against the rocks below our feet. He kissed the back of my hand and I did not refuse. After that, I took Du Song to meet my parents. Next, Lu Zishuan and I got drunk once. He slept over at my house. After that, the surveillance video in our apartment elevators spread throughout the school. I didn't understand why he did that. Maybe he wanted to be with her. Du Song reminded me I couldn't believe it. We have known each other for a long time, I know Lu Zichuan is not that kind of person, but that day he did go home with me, and the location of my apartment was only known to me, Du Song and Lu Zichuan. If you marry Zichuan, this crisis of our family can be over, my father said on the phone. I felt like I vaguely understood the truth. First, he used public opinion on the internet and people around him to attack me, then he used the survival of the company to force me. Forcing me overnight, Lu Zichuan seemed to have become a different person. I didn't understand why, but I was also a member of the family. Even if it was an arranged marriage, it was something I had to do. So I still went to find Lu Zichuan. After all, he was Lu Zichuan. We grew up together, he wouldn't treat me badly. He had never treated me badly. Let's get engaged, I said to Lu Zichuan. I could see that he was very happy. I didn't know why, but I also felt better. Maybe because finally no one around me was gossiping anymore. The next time I saw Du Song was at my engagement ceremony. Right after I decided to find Lu Zichuan, I said goodbye to him. He was very sad but said that he understood my suffering, so he agreed. Looking at his bearded appearance, I knew that he was probably sadder than he showed on the outside. As for me, how could I feel secure in getting engaged to someone else in such a situation? But right at that moment, Lu Zichuan told me that he wanted to cancel the engagement. I was angry, or rather, I was angry because of shame. It was obvious that he had used every means to force me to this point, and now he was playing the good guy. Thinking of him, thinking of Du Song sitting in the corner drinking wine and feeling sad, I angrily left. Actually, after marrying Lu Zichuan, our life was not bad. He was still the same as before, not good at saying sweet words, but he did everything a husband should do well. It was as if the person who had hurt me before was not him. Sometimes, even I unconsciously forgot about it. Therefore, our relationship became more harmonious, until I met Du Song again at a social event. He panicked and pulled me to sit down, and I saw that video again. Everything returned to the starting point. Actually, at that time, I thought we were already married. There was absolutely no need for Lu Zichuan to release that video anymore. But looking at the corner of Du Song's mouth full of blood, I couldn't say anything to Du Song. I always felt guilty in my memory. Lu Zichuan was not someone who would do despicable things, but he did in my memory. Lu Zichuan didn't hit anyone, but he hit me too. I didn't believe anything he said, nor did I return home, like a snail groaning and withdrawing into its shell. Until Lu Zichuan died in a traffic accident, the police said he avoided a group of children. He was a very kind person. I knew that. But he hurt me deeply, and also hurt someone who loved me. When I regained consciousness, the album was still open on the table. In the photo, we were still laughing happily when we were young. A drop of water fell, blurring the childish pencil words, "I like you." I quickly wiped the smudge, then realized I was crying. After that, I had an accident and was reborn. What I thought was an accident turned out to be Du Song's deliberate plan. It turned out he didn't really like me, he just liked my family background. I regretted it so much, regretted hurting the person who loved me the most, Lu Zichuan. Because of Du Song, I had hated Lu Zichuan for 6 years, so when I was reborn, the first thing I did was to find Lu Zichuan, find my brother Lu. I wanted to start over with him, but it was too late. He already had a girl he liked, and that girl was very good, beautiful and gentle. He started to avoid me, keeping his distance from me. I knew I had hurt him too much, so I didn't blame him. But at this moment, Du Song approached me. I hated him. I wanted to take revenge on him. I prepared a series of plans to push him down the abyss. During that process, my plan was almost discovered by him many times. I thought I would fail, unable to take revenge, but in the end, Lu Zichuan stood up and gave me a document. Thanks to that, I finally succeeded in taking revenge. After successfully taking revenge, I planned to go abroad to live. In the country, There was nothing that made me miss him anymore. I just happened to get the opportunity to study further, so I left the country. I knew that I would never have any connection with Lu Zishuan again in this life. But deep down, I would always wish him happiness for the rest of his life.